for the hydrogen industry, and they're going to be spared the £120 net zero levy. Now, he said that there are the other ways that the government can fund its net zero agenda rather than place further financial burden on struggling families. And over the last year, energy bills have soared due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and that's amid high inflation rates. So how will the government fit the bill for their green energy agenda? Let's discuss with Director of CAR26, Lois Perry, and Senior Meteorologist Jim Dale. Right, Lois Perry, I'm going to start with you. 120 quid seems like it's not that much, but it's something.
Yeah, well, when you add it to the 10 billion direct subsidies on green stuff and then 20 billion indirect that we're already paying, on top of, as you say, inflationary cost of living by the energy prices going up, and then the actual cost of fuel going up, 120 is just, the straw that broke the camel's back. But it's very interesting on the back of some polling that's been done recently in The Sun, actually, that said that, that people... The majority of people actually put the cost of living as more important than net zero targets. And we've also done, so CAR26 have done some polling as well in conjunction with the Heartland Institute in America, which shows that those opposing climate lockdowns has gone up substantially. And those who last year strongly supported climate lockdowns has actually reduced by 20%. So,
I'm just looking at Jim. Jim looks kind of bored. Jim, what's wrong?
Yeah, I know. I'm
You're rolling your eyes back.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm listening to the figures, and to be honest, a lot of this is baloney. There was
This is a YouGov survey.
This is a YouGov survey.
£120 in a second. But the poll that really counts was the one in the UK when people took the local elections, and that showed quite graphically when they were asked, when they came out of the polling station, do they believe in net zero, moving towards it, and it was just over 70% that did, and there was a rump of about 10% that did not, and everybody else was in between. So you can see in the UK it's heavily weighted. As far as the £120 is concerned, and not to go too far with this, but this might be 2 weeks in a row that I've agreed with Lois in terms of whether or not we should be putting that onto the backs of the general public. The answer is no, we should not. This is the government messing around and kowtowing to the far right wing of the Tory party. Excuse me. And that's the reason that they're wobbling around and not going very far very quickly. It needs a change. And I just asked Lois this: if there is going to be a £20 levy put on, shouldn't be directed at the fossil fuel industries, the ones that have actually caused the problems in the first place, the ones that are making the massive
So the fossil fuel industry, which is responsible for us having cheap and abundant energy and actually, the wheels of commerce turning and people not freezing to death in their own homes, that fossil fuel industry. Do you know what, Jim? The thing is, if we do all the things that you want, and we're going to have blackouts, we're going to have climate lockdowns, and we're going to end up with a dim jail, which incidentally is a spoonerism of your name.
It is actually, Jim.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where you're getting that information
That's
from.
what I prepared earlier.
This is just a scare story, to be honest.
You think it's a scare story? OK, so let's talk about hydrogen then, because hydrogen seems to be they're going towards that. Lois, is that a wise move at all?
Well, do you know what? The only thing that you can do to make hydrogen safe is to add another component to it. And guess what? That component's called carbon. And then guess what? That's actually called gas. So why don't we just stick with what we've got? Moving towards hydrogen, it's another gravy train. It won't work without subsidies. The whole thing is part of the big green racket, and that's who you should be directing your anger towards, Jim. The big green racket, not the big oil racket.
No, I'll tell you what you should be directing your anger to, and that is the lack of movement by this government and other governments throughout the world. Not all of them. Today, a couple of days ago, we saw the highest 2023 temperature in Shahid in Pakistan. 51.8. We're going to see some absolutely stonking temperatures in the next week or so coming out of the Middle East, Texas, Spain itself. These are the ongoing things of climate change. Pictures in Germany this week of huge floods. We're in June. We're not even in July and August.
But Jim, can I just say that obviously the less we put on our heating, surely that's better for carbon emissions. So the fact that we're warming up could be, I don't see why it's such a bad thing. And it could simply be just the cycle of the planet, Lois.
Yeah, well, Richard Tice made an excellent point earlier that there are record cold temperatures in other parts of the world that are not being taken on board. And you look at averages, not just that it was a bit hot here or a bit hot here there. And, you know, as Nana and I, and, you know, and even you have acknowledged, Jim, proper records were only started to be taken in the last 100 years.
Okay,
So,
final 10 seconds for you, Jim Dale.
Richard Tice, by the way, is not. I mean, he's a chief meteorologist. What is he? Because to me, he's nothing. He gets his science all wrong. He takes feeds and he spouts these things out. So, you know, long time coming in terms of giving truthful information.
Well, can I just say, Richard's not here to defend himself, so let's not talk about Richard in that way. But listen, on that bombshell, Jim Dale, thank you very much. And also Lois Perry, director of CAR26. Good to talk to you both. Right, it's just coming up to 34 minutes after 3 o'clock. This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. I'm Nana Akua. Still to come, the Titanic 5.